Hello, and welcome to the Smart Inclusion Podcast, where we connect the dots between investing in people, investing capital, and preserving the planet. Each episode brings you powerful stories from thought leaders like women, indigenous people, and unsung heroes who are driving the global energy transition forward. This podcast ties together the complex threads of sustainability, showing how the public can engage with new opportunities in energy transition and invest in their communities. Whether you're interested in the future of energy, climate change, sustainable investing, or understanding why these changes matter to you, Smart Inclusion delivers insightful conversations that break down what's happening, what's on the horizon, and how you can be part of this transformational movement. I'm your host, Todd Q. Adams. Hey everybody, I'm Todd Q. Adams, and I'm the host of the Smart Inclusion Podcast series where we connect the dots between investing in people, investing capital, and protecting our environment. This is the essence of equity economics. There's something that's really been on my mind lately as I've engaged prior guests, like Brett Isaac of Navajo Power Home and Jason Rodriguez, the CEO of Froliq. And I'll talk about them a little later, that storytelling around community benefits, and I'll talk about the 4 pillars of community benefits, are integral to clean energy projects that are very technical and engineering related in nature and a serious gap. There are 4 major pillars. Those pillars are really telling the story and doing the work of economic development, regional economic development, economic impact. 2, you're talking about quality job creation, engineers, electricians, fiber optic technicians, construction workers are examples. 3, partnering with community-based organizations and community partners. They can range from tribal nations to community colleges to nonprofits, among others. And the last is actually reducing carbon emissions and greenhouse gas emissions, and telling that story are very integral. And the reason that that's so powerful and the storytelling is so powerful because it personalizes it, it humanizes it, and it connects people in communities to these projects. When people think about how often you've looked at something and go, what are they building over there? I see wind farms, or I see solar farms, or I see something that I don't quite know what it is, and you wonder, or if you wonder about the environmental impacts. Well, the players that are actually, really doing the work and are actually good at telling the story around this, particularly as it relates to what I talked about as Justice 40, which is interestingly integrates those 4 pillars. You have everybody from big tech like Amazon and Microsoft who are interesting as they're building data centers, which are energy intensive. Literally, it's projected that there will be 10% of our nation's energy and load demand will come from data centers. That's important as well because they are also creating thousands of jobs per data center, billions of dollars in economic development impact per data center. And I'm watching them tell stories. You see, if you go to, you can just Google Microsoft's Community Benefits Pledge. You can also do the same with Amazon, and you'll see it come up around what they're doing to actually drive value around these 4 pillars in communities. And this becomes also, it's integral, just so you understand the economic impact. Our federal government is allocating $2 trillion to rebuild our nation's infrastructure. Much of this is inclusive of clean energy infrastructure. McKinsey, a leading think tank, an global advisory firm, estimates that we'll need to increase our spending on our clean energy transition. This is global spending from $5 trillion annually to $9 trillion annually until the year 2050 in order so that we can reach net zero and will offset all carbon emissions put into the environment. You begin to think about this will have been the largest capital deployment folks, the largest capital deployment in human history. We're talking about creating wealth. We're talking about creating jobs. We're talking about creating regional hubs. And we're also talking about nations positioning themselves to be the global leaders in this clean energy transition. This is a chance for the United States to actually be just that. Well, and if you think about it, yes, I gave examples of big tech, and you can go in and look that up. What's important is, which is also relatable, we know that small business is also the heartbeat of America. It's small business that really employs the most people, small businesses that drive the most economic development impact, even though all the big players get all the attention. So one of the things in my prior episodes, you heard me talk to Jason Rodriguez, who is the CEO and founder of Froliq, which is actually providing innovative workforce solutions, training solutions for Fortune 500 companies and that are including utilities and others, and using immersive technology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and all of that. However, they're addressing our pipeline problem, our pipeline skills readiness, skills gap, the lack of workforce readiness, and they're doing this by driving a solution that helps companies actually train better. Secondly, Brett Isaac, who is also a part of the Navajo Nation and the CEO of Navajo Power Home, which is the actual home utility company for the Navajo Nation in Arizona. In Arizona, and they have actually, as a startup, they started a utility from the ground up. And what they're doing is they're actually storytelling, and they're talking about earned media, ABC News, job creation, addressing unemployment within the tribe, and also helping to manage the overall load beyond the tribe. I mean, electric grid load that will affect all of us. So what you're seeing is that these folks are telling the story of how they're driving community benefits as well as connecting their work to a larger societal problem in addressing all of our climate change and energy transition needs. And so, these are all lessons in storytelling, community benefits, those four pillars, if you remember the four pillars that I just talked about, and also humanizing this so that it's understood by people that aren't research scientists, who are not engineers, and who are not necessarily in these spaces. So, as when we talk about lessons, I'm really excited that in our next episode, we're going to be talking to a gentleman who I've gotten to know very well, Kabi Osei-Kusi, who is based in Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., with an EV charging solution, who is actually integrating a lot of these community benefits pillars into his business model. And these folks they've already built, they've already attracted funding and partners, everyone that I spoke to, as well as Kabi. And so Kabi will talk about democratizing EV charging by allowing and enabling small and medium-sized businesses to own and operate EV charging networks. He's also going to talk about making it more accessible. This is a personal problem that I have in driving my own EV, and that not having access to EV charging. So obviously, not just the big box retailers who have public EV charging, however, providing it in a lot of other multifamily places, small and medium-sized businesses, and also helping to address the greater problem of using that network he'll talk about the technical merits of using it for managing our electric grid load or adding to the load in that space. So all of these and so the bigger takeaway is that we all have to understand that fundamentally, when we are addressing a threat to humanity, when we are talking about climate change, I think we can all see weather events. We've experienced a lot of extreme heat out west. We've seen a lot of hurricanes, on the eastern seaboard and, on the Gulf Coast. A lot of devastation, a lot of destruction, more so that is more intensified than ever. This actually highlights the need for these folks and these technologies, which are all, and these solutions, which fundamentally reduce greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change. This is a human problem. So oftentimes, everything has to be technologically viable. It has to be economically viable. That is a given. However, what we're seeing is that the founders who are actually demonstrating the most value, who are attracting the most funding, who are creating the most impactful partnerships and getting the most community buy-in are the people who are leading with storytelling around these community benefits. So as we look forward to the next, our episode with Kabi, just remember that investing in all people, investing capital while protecting our environment is an imperative. And this is the essence of equity economics. So I want to thank you. Thank you for watching and listening. Look forward to you in the upcoming episode. Please like, share, comment, and look forward to engaging you in our next episode. Thank you so much.